Hey, Jenny.
And hi, Lena.
Hi, Lena.
Hello.
Oh, how are you both?
Good.
Good.
Yeah.
How are you?
All right. Yeah. I see, Lena, that you're up for meeting with the Committee on Committees tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Yeah, as an alternate for the Sustainability Committee.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. And there's another person also who the Committee on Committees is meeting with, who's either asking to be an alternate to the Sustainability Committee or on the Solid Waste Advisory Committee.
Oh, nice. Who's that?
Josh Walters. I don't know who he is, but yeah, so it's good. We've got all this
Great.
resident interest in participating in these programs, or committees.
Yeah.
Lynn, I have the Sustainable CT website up.
Okay.
So I make you a
Yeah.
right.
When we get to that point, I can walk us through a couple things.
Okay. You're now a co-host.
Awesome. Oh, so let me pull the website up so I can.
If I bring it up, can you drive the truck, so
I
to
don't
speak?
think so. I'll drive it from my own seat here.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, Katie, I'm going to admit her because I am co-hosting now.
Oh, I didn't get a notice that she's came on. Huh. I also have a list. Hi, Katie. Hi. I also have a list of the actions that we took in 2019 for Sustainable CT. So just, I'm turning that off. See how I can hear it. Okay. So if you think that would be useful, I can also, I have that queued up to show
Yeah, that would be great.
what we did in the past.
Wait, where is this stuff?
Good evening.
Hey, Peter. Hi, Matt.
Hi, Peter.
Hi, Katie.
Hey, all.
Hi,
Hey, all.
Bill.
Hey, Matt. Hi, Bill. Bill's still connecting. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have a quorum. Where's Bill? Hey, Bill.
Hi, Bill.
All right, so I think we've got the quorum, right?
Yes.
All right. Good. We shall begin at 6:01. Welcome, everyone, to the December meeting of Mansfield Sustainability Committee. Good to see you all. And Lena joining us again. Yeah, Lena, do you want to share what you and Jenny were just talking about getting on the committee?
Oh, I have I guess the interview with the committee for committees tomorrow. So to be an alternate.
Yay. Great. So thank you so much for your continued interest and wanting to join us. We're excited to have you on.
Great, thank you.
Yeah. So if they need any references, give them all of us, every single last one of us. Tell them, yeah, we want you on our committee.
Oh, thank you.
How's everyone else doing tonight?
Very good. Al will be joining us in about 10 or 15 minutes.
Okay, great. Good. All right, so let's get rolling. You all have the agenda from Ginny. I've called the meeting to order and I will entertain a motion to approve the November 10th meeting minutes.
So moved.
Thanks, Peter. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Thanks, Katie. Any discussion? Okay. Then we will vote. All in favor of approving the November 10th, 2021 minutes, say aye or raise your hand or
Aye.
something.
Aye.
Okay. All opposed, say nay. Any abstentions? Excuse me. Okay, so I think we got all ayes. I'm not sure about Bill, but unless you chime in, Bill, and tell us you're a no vote or write it in the chat, I think we'll assume you're with us on the vote. Okay. Let me just try this. Ask to unmute, see if you want to. Okay. So moved. There you are. Hi, did you want
Oh,
to say
man,
something,
thank
Bill?
you. Oh, yeah, we'll figure it out right now. My wife did for me, so,
Okay. So did you want to vote in favor of the approving the November 10th meeting minutes?
yes, I do. Yes,
Perfect. Great. Thank you. It's good to hear your voice.
thank you.
Okay, so we've just got a couple agenda items. One is discussion on recertifying with Sustainable CT over the next year. And that kind of feeds into our 2022 goals for the committee, which we had started discussing a few months ago. So let's see, we'll start, Ginny and I are gonna tag team the Sustainable CT part and get all of your input. In 2019, Mansfield achieved silver Sustainable CT certification. And that is the highest current level. The certification lasts for 3 years, and then a town needs to recertify or they become uncertified. So I know the mayor talked to me about it at the CCM convention last week, and this committee is all interested in maintaining that certification and just kind of continuing to follow those best practices for sustainability as a town. So we're going to go for it. Last time, Ginny and Jennifer Kaufman did a lot of the heavy lifting as staff. And I think we had an intern as well. This year, we're looking to find an intern from UConn that could help. And we'd like to spread out the work. The design of the program is really a framework to unite committees in working towards a common goal. And there's kind of something in it for many different committees. So maybe I'll just start sharing and give the quick overview. And I will make the disclaimer that I am the executive director of Sustainable CT. So I'm, of course, pretty familiar with the program. And I can kind of provide information and offer, let you guys know about the resources. I can't be actively engaged in writing up any actions or reviewing any actions submitted by Mansfield. So if anyone has any questions about that, we have a conflict of interest policy in the office that we kind of sign off on when anyone's in this situation. So Sustainable CT is a program to inspire, support, and recognize Connecticut towns for a broad range of sustainability practices. And what we do is we have best practices in lots of different areas. You can see 13 categories listed here that were all created and developed with input from towns all over the state and other stakeholders. And the idea is these are the ingredients that make a town a great, healthy, resilient place to live for all members of the community. So it's not just an environmental program. It's got a lot of other aspects to it. Equity and inclusion is a foundation of the program and the only required action. And then you can see it's about local economies, natural resources, arts and culture, forward-thinking planning on the town, part of the town, like zoning and plan of conservation and development and whatnot, clean transportation systems, a whole category on renewable and efficient energy use, a category 8 on being inclusive and engaging community in municipal decisions and communicating and reaching out to the community so they're aware of what the town's doing and have input. Strategic materials management, also known as waste management and recycling. Actions around health and wellness, diverse and affordable housing options, and homelessness prevention. And then innovation is kind of a category where towns can submit things that they're doing that are great that may not be in the action list. So just to kind of give you a sense of this, we've talked a lot about energy, so let's just look at that category. Each category has multiple actions underneath it, and each action has, this one is benchmark and track energy use. So basically, you're tracking energy used in municipal and Board of Education buildings. So in other words, schools, the town hall, the schools, the library, any buildings that the town owns and operates and has control over. And you're tracking it through a EPA tool called Portfolio Manager that's paid for by federal taxes and free to use. And we have free support from the utilities to help towns create their Portfolio Manager accounts, load all their building information into it. And then there's an automated data feed from Eversource in our case that transfers the utility data monthly into our Portfolio Manager accounts. So we can see at each building over time, the use of energy and document energy reductions. So that's one of the energy actions that you just start measuring and put up your tracking system. And then you can also get points under Sustainable CT if you show through that tracking that you've reduced energy use by 10% across all your municipal buildings, or any higher amount, you get 10 points for each percentage. So you can see each action has a description of how to do it. It has resources to help the town, to help us do those activities, the benefits and so on. And then we have Connecticut success stories. So we could look at what West Hartford did in 2021. If we click on that, it'll show their report and how they made significant energy reductions in their town buildings. So that's just kind of the quick overview. With each of these actions, there are tools and support to help implement them. Many of those are through partners like the Green Bank or the Nature Conservancy or the Partnership for Strong Communities. So Sustainable CT is a network of very strong partners. And behind this public-facing portal is a municipal dashboard. So Mansfield has an account that Ginny and Jennifer probably have access to. They could give access to others where they can get in, and you see this planned, unplanned in your own dashboard. You can start marking things, entering data, uploading documents, and then when you're ready to submit for certification, there's a submit button and you click the whole thing. But you can track things and come back to this, your own dashboard that's saved over time. Some other cool features of the website are looking at the other towns who are engaged. So you can see 126 towns across the state are registered all over the state. 69, including Mansfield, have earned certification at either the bronze or the silver level. And those towns cumulatively have successfully completed over 2,500 of those actions, like the energy ones we just talked about. And if you want to just see the silver towns, you can set this and see who's silver. If you want to see which town did something on, which town has mapped their tourism and cultural assets, you can click that action, click filter. These are all the towns that got points for that. And then you click on one and you view their profile and you'll be able to see exactly, oh, I'm sorry, you view their report, and you'll be able to see exactly, in this case, what Guilford or whoever I clicked on has done, Old Saybrook in this case, has done in all the actions, including, you can scroll down to that 4.1 that we were interested in because it's told us they've gotten points for that. And you can click on these buttons and see everything. So it's a very vibrant peer sharing platform as well. There's a whole section of the website on supporting your town. So if we go to that, we can see some tools that could be useful to us. And if we look at resources for your team, there's like a intro present PowerPoint presentation, all kinds of detail on, more information on the actions and whatnot. And then there's actually a worksheet that we can download that has all the actions we just looked at, but in a spreadsheet format with the high level things, the number of points and what you do. And we can then use this to say like, oh, for this one, we're gonna work with the Human Rights Commission. And for the Ag one, we're gonna work with the Ag Committee and they're taking the lead on it. Or this one we're gonna pass on. So there's a tool within the website that allows us to, kind of work on things. And I guess the final thing I'll say is that there are no cost assistance tools for many of these actions. Here's one on homelessness prevention. Here's one on streamlining for solar permitting in our town. And these are basically very specific, like almost like consultants. They're like partner organizations that will help the town navigate this work. We have free equity coaches that are available to work with each town. Like I said, the benchmarking energy all happens through Amy Thompson at UConn and her students. So tons of things to help towns do this, all free. And in addition to that, we have funding. And our funding program is combined with a crowdfunding platform that basically anyone with a great idea in your town that aligns with the Sustainable CT roadmap, anyone, an individual, two neighbors, a nonprofit, a town employee, someone on our committee can say, I want to make this happen. And if you scroll down here, you can see some of the things happening. Like here in Meriden is a bridge beautification project. So they're doing public art on a bridge, using youth, engaging youth to do it, and beautifying their town. And they have a crowdfunding campaign that you can see. They're looking to raise $10,000. When $5,000 will be come from crowdfunding, and $5,000 will be matched by Sustainable CT. So Sustainable CT is matching dollar for dollar on projects to a certain amount. These guys have already raised $3,000 to get to their 5, and then double it with Sustainable CT. And you can see, actually, let's go to the Mansfield one because that was a fun one. Let's just look here because it's a completed campaign. Mansfield CT. Should have it. Here it is. I don't know why it's not coming up. Anyway, so the Mansfield, the new mural on the town, the community center wall was a crowdfunding project. It was one of many Martin Luther King murals going up around the state in honor of, they're trying to do 39 by, in honor of, I guess his age. and spread throughout the state. You can look at this and see the description. That's where it was going to go. This, of course, was before the. Now, if you go there, you'll see the mural up, and it's a little bit about the artist. And some of us went and helped do the painting, which was super fun. Here was the budget. It was matched by $7,500 from Sustainable CT, or I guess in this case, 6489. 65 people donated to the project. You can see if there are any updates. There were, the celebration, and you can even look and see a list of donors to the project, which is pretty cool. So that's how that works. And again, it's money to help towns engage other residents in implementing actions. And so this MLK mural aligns directly with one of the actions in Sustainable CT's roadmap that's related to arts and culture, placemaking, and other action on equity and inclusion. So it's hitting kind of many different things. So yeah, I mean, if there's a specific thing that we want to do towards certification that needs money, that has public appeal and is publicly visible and publicly accessible, you know, someone in the town or some group of people could start one of these crowdfunding campaigns and, you know, apply for the matching funds with Sustainable CT. So I think I'll stop because that was a lot, but I wanted you guys to have an overview before we jump into like how we might attack this. Any questions?
I have a couple of questions. One is, so on the, just for example, there, we were certified for monitoring energy usage in municipal buildings. Can you get points for recertifying or recertifying that we're continuing to do that?
Yes. Yeah, so you can get points to recertify something like tracking or reducing energy, something that's an ongoing effort. You can't get points 3 years later for holding a sustainability event that was 4 or 5 years ago. So it depends on the action, whether you get points or not, but most of them, if you're doing ongoing work and can document that, then you can submit for points again.
Great, thanks.
Oh, here's Al. There we go. Any other questions?
Hey, Lynn,
Oh,
what do you do
yeah,
with all the
oh, I'm
points
sorry, go
that you get?
Say it again, Matt.
What, I must have missed this part. So you were talking about getting points for doing different things. What do you get then when you have so many points, or how does that system work?
Yeah, so you submit, it's reviewed by a whole bunch of people in multiple layers. You get fame and glory. So last week, the annual convention of the Connecticut Conference of Municipalities had their annual convention. It was in person again this year, and on stage we had we awarded plaques to each of the 25 towns that earned certification in 2021. And then we do ongoing things throughout the year to help give visibility to what the towns have done. And we're going to be doing a lot more over the next couple of years in helping residents in the community understand what the town is doing and what the town has done. So it's really,
it's essentially like a benchmark for how well you're doing, almost like a score if you were playing a game. I know it's not a game, but so the higher the higher amount of points, the more engaged your community was in this project. Is that a fair statement?
yeah, it's kind of like an independent way of saying you've achieved either bronze or silver if they're not ranked, like the highest point achiever, the next highest. That demonstrates that you actually, to get certified, the town has to do one action of their choosing in each category. So it says your town's paying attention to something about homelessness, housing, health, materials management, transportation, that you're taking a very broad view of sustainability in your town. And you've achieved either 200 points or 400 points for silver. Yeah, so it's kind of like a lead building, you know, you get a plaque, you get to say that you've achieved that. And a lot of towns like the fact that it's kind of like this audit that some towns submit for certification every year, because they like to kind of do this constant audit of like all the best practices and okay, what aren't we doing that we should be doing? What else can we improve on? Yeah. And this year, we just launched a climate leaders designation. So on top of certification, towns can apply as climate leaders. And what that will be in this pilot year is a handful of actions from different categories that are already there. So you're already, a lot of the energy actions, obviously, and transportation. So you would have already done those actions for certification. And if you did the ones that are marked climate leaders, then you get an extra kind of like accolades and, you know, showing your residents and businesses in your town and peer towns that you're also a climate leader. And that's our pilot year this year, and we'll be adding new high greenhouse gas impact actions over the course of this year for climate leaders next year, to kind of increase the level of engagement and the level of impact that towns are making. Yeah.
So I just want to add to that, this is Jenny, that I was asked by Sustainable CT if the town might be interested in working for this designation for 2022. And I said yes, without consulting anybody, because partly because the town has passed a climate emergency resolution. And so departments are being asked to focus on actions. We're in the process of looking at the benchmarking system that the town currently has. I've had a conversation with UConn about converting all that data over to the EPA platform, which happens to be free. Right now we're paying for a platform, so that's good. And also all the data is being manually input. So UConn, Amy Thompson from UConn, which Lynn introduced me to, she and her graduate students will get automated or automatic data input from Eversource and Connecticut Natural Gas. So that will also be a help to the individual that now inputs that information in the town. But there are some things in our data gathering that is not included in the information that we have so far. I used to input the data. This was years ago. I have since stopped. But one of the things that I did was I read meters. So I would go to the library and read their meter for their solar panels. So these little solar panels that we have that are not hooked up to be automatically read, they need somebody to visit them and read them. That kind of stuff is not being input now into our data. I mean, it's probably small, but it's something that is not giving a true picture, of what's really going on. Electrical use.
Yeah, unless any solar project that was financed by the Green Bank, there is data, and Amy has access to the data through the Green Bank.
It wasn't though.
It was, okay,
No, it was this deal that the maintenance director had with this company, and they just put these little systems on 3
okay.
different buildings. So, yeah.
I mean, in the future, if we do a carport or something like that, that's getting financing, it'll all be, it's integrated into Portfolio Manager, and Amy can help do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Ginny, well, so my thinking is that, this is, the whole point of this is engaging residents and staff and committees throughout the town on this work, to contribute to the vision of what we see is good for the future of Mansfield. So it shouldn't be done by a couple of staff people. And it's kind of designed to be very broad. So as the categories you can imagine, strategic materials management, the actions under there, which one of is reporting municipal waste generation per capita and showing reductions in municipal waste generation per capita over time. Clearly the solid waste committee, advisory committee, probably has access to that data, would be interested in that action. There are actions under local economies that maybe the Economic Development Commission would be interested in. Like I said, the Human Rights Commission probably be interested in working with us on the equity actions. So I think the idea is that our committee could kind of help engage others in this framework and maybe do somewhat of a coordinating role, but really kind of map out and meet with other committees on, which actions would they like to work on under economic development, or, some of the ones related to ag or whatever. And that the work would be spread out and dispersed, and we'd be making all kinds of positive gains for our community. So that's, I think, the approach that I would suggest. And I don't know, do people have thoughts about that?
I think it's a great idea. I don't know, do you want us to take the list and look it over ourselves and see what we could do? Or would you and Ginny be able to assign us different things, and then we could tell you if we couldn't do it or not? Or assign it to different committees within the town? I'd need the list, and I'm ready to do whatever you want me to do. And but I just need guidance on
Right.
where the different parts are.
Yeah. Ginny, did you want to chime in? You're ready to say something?
Yeah, well, I mean, there have been things that this committee has discussed. And so my thought is, why not build on those things that have been discussed in this committee meeting, like solar canopies? So if this committee thought that it was worthwhile, so I just sent an email earlier this week to E.O. Smith High School, which is something that the committee at last month's meeting decided to advocate or present solar canopies as an idea to E.O. Smith High School. So if this committee, if members of this committee wanted to take a more active role in exploring solar canopies at the town hall, the middle school, and E.O. Smith High School, that might be one action that would, I mean, it may not bear fruit, so it might not count towards any points, but it'd be an action toward, getting solar canopies up in the town. Or another one would be, with the school, the new school. I have some information on the status of the school, like with furniture. I had mentioned at the last meeting about that none of the furniture from Southeast is going into the new school. So what's happening to that furniture? So I've contacted Colliers. They're the overseers of the project as to what's happening. So there are things around that the committee could ask the town council or work on a deconstruction ordinance or because they're not deconstructing anything on this project. That's what I learned. It's not happening. So that would be one thing. Another thing could be that the committee advocate for a sustainable purchasing policy for the town. The town doesn't have that. And I was looking at New Milford, which has a purchasing policy. I mean, the Solid Waste Advisory Committee has modified drafts of or drafted a policy. So, I mean, it has been kind of in the works, but that would be something that's tangible, possibly, could be achieved for this 2022 application. I would think, if the committee advocated with maybe some other committees to say, we really think this is a good idea. It meshes with the climate resolution in this way, and offer training for employees. So those are some of my ideas of how the committee could contribute to sustainable CT certification.
Yeah, I think that a lot of things also totally dovetail with the new climate resolution, which of course our committee brought up. And as the departments look through Mansfield's Plan of Conservation and Development and the other Climate Action Task Force report, as was referenced in the resolution, there are things in there that are also, you can earn points in sustainable CT, and obviously trying to get to carbon neutrality is huge, and it also syncs up with the climate leaders. So I think there's like complete alignment in everything we've talked about, and the new resolution and so on. So weaving it all together, could kind of move a lot of different goals for the town. And to answer your question, Katie, I think, maybe I'd be happy to, I don't know, maybe Ginny and I could like take a shot looking at the worksheet and what we got points for last time and getting a sense of, which ones might carry over, and then which committees we might want to engage and which ones fall pretty soundly under our committee. And we could bring that back and kind of look through it as a group next month or something, and then think about how we want to engage with other committees.
I do have the actions that we took for 2019. I have that spreadsheet up if you want to, you guys want to see what the town did and the points that we got for those actions. Would that be helpful? Would that be too much information?
How much information is it?
It's just one page. I shortened it. So
Sure.
Is it what you sent us?
It
When
is,
you-
yeah,
Okay, 'cause I printed out and looked it over. Okay.
yeah.
You might want to show it quickly, Ginny, if people didn't
Sure.
get a chance to open it.
Sure, yeah,
We don't have to read through the thing, but just to get familiar. Hey, Matt.
Yeah.
what's up?
okay. So here it is. Let's see. I could probably make it smaller so that it fits all on one page, but then it might be too tiny to read. I don't know. You want me to make it smaller or just leave it as is?
No, I can barely read it as it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me make it bigger then. Can you read that?
Yeah.
Much better.
Okay. All right.
So as you can
So-
see, there's at least one thing in each category and then the accumulation of things to, and by the way, the numbering system was different in 2019, so don't really pay attention to like 1.3 is now called another category, but we have a translation guide on that.
But I would say a lot of action was really around the watershed management and open space and low impact development. So this is all under the purview of the environmental planner out of the planning department. And then a lot of points also came into play with the plan of conservation development. That was huge. You can see 80 points for the Mansfield Tomorrow plan. And so we're kind of shy on the arts and culture end of it in terms of, what we reported for points. And then the energy stuff. We had the Nature Conservancy come on this one here and work with some town staff on assessing climate vulnerability. So, one of the things that we did in 2019 was we had dinner meetings with all the committees and boards. We invited committees and boards to an evening to introduce sustainable CT to them, ask them to look at the actions to see what they could be involved with. And then we had a second meeting with them to go over equity. We had a presentation on equity. And so that, would something like that be worthwhile having again? I don't know.
Yeah, I think that could be cool with us kind of mapping out the opportunities for each group or something. Each
Yeah.
committee.
Matt,
Oh yeah,
you're
Matt, sorry,
muted.
you had a question. Go ahead.
I had two questions. So Ginny, you had said, and I'm trying to find it again, that we were light on the art side. I kind of
Yeah.
found that a little shocking because, and I don't know, maybe the stuff doesn't count, but so many times in the center of town, like I think this past weekend, they had people out there singing in their little town green there, and there's so many little festivals that are out there. And do all those count as arts and creative culture, or does all those different things not count? That was
It's
one of the
more, yeah, it was more about reporting, and it was more about engaging those key people who would put something together for points, and having them report on it. That was more the issue. It's not that the town's
Oh,
not
okay.
doing anything. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the part that shocked me, because I mean, this is one of, I think, the best towns in the state for that kind of stuff. And my other question that I wanted to ask everybody, and I don't mean to be blunt, and I'm worried I'm going to say it wrong, and somebody's going to get mad at me for the way I'm saying it. So
We won't get mad
please,
at
filter whatever I'm saying. I have good intentions. We've talked a lot about the solar canopies in the parking lot, and I think that everybody pretty much was kind of on board with this, and Ginny had just said that that would be a really good thing to do. I mean, is that something that we as a group should kind of start pushing for? I mean, like, how do you go from there's no solar canopies to having solar canopies? I mean, so I
Well, I
know a
think-
letter was sent to like EO Smith. I didn't hear about it. Of course, I work at EO Smith, so I could always pop in the superintendent's office and see what she thinks about it. But it's even like I mean, I think probably people have to be on board with the idea. I'm not sure all the different players we'd have to get on board. But so to start a project like that, is that something our committee would want to do? And see and make happen and like come up with a game plan, like who are the people we'd have to talk to or get permission or get quotes from, or do you see what I'm saying? And
Yeah,
that
I
might-
think it's a great point. I think that's exactly the kind of thing that we could say, yeah, we want to do a little more work to make that happen, which involves, talking to the decision makers and offering to do whatever, maybe even doing a crowdfunding campaign to help pay for some of it,
Well,
whatever.
that's what I was thinking, because you just did the sustainable CT presentation, and I mean, if we could do, that crowdfunding and people could donate or something like that, or I don't know. I mean, and then if sustainable CT matched part of that or something, it might impact the cost. And then, I don't know, electricity is tricky because, I mean, we all buy from the power company, and you can select how much of your electricity is from sustainable or non-sustainable or whatever if you want, but it'd be interesting to see like what the town as a whole uses for electricity, and then, how many of these, if we do a bunch of solar parking lots, how much does that impact that? It could be an interesting thing to think about too. I don't know. I have a feeling the town, well, I shouldn't say because I don't know, but you would think the town would be in support of all this, the people in the town and everything like this. And that presentation that we watched, I don't know if that was in July or somewhere a long time ago, feels like now, but with the parking lots are already ruined. That's already done and ecologically, so to environmentally rather, or both. But to put panels up there would be kind of neat. I don't know.
Yeah.
It
Could I-
seems like something, but it's like, how do we go from everybody kind of like that idea on our committee here to there's solar panels in the parking lots at the schools and town hall?
Point in that if we were able to quantify how it's going to benefit individual people, they'll care about it more. So if you say, look, maybe, I don't know if it would impact people's taxes or whatever, but if you talk about in terms of money, people will be all for it.
I guess before going to solar canopies, I'm a little confused that I hear Lynn saying, does this committee want to be the coordinator of sustainable CT with other committees? And so that's one question. Then I hear Ginny saying, well, what are actual projects that we can move along and that are more in our wheelhouse of and gain points for the recertification. And being the coordinator for other committees for sustainable CT is something that it seems like, not to volunteer Lynn and Ginny, but to volunteer Lynn and Ginny, but to just, it seems like it's an email to each committee saying, time for certification. Here are the points from 2019 that your committee had something to do with or could have had something to do with. Do you have any thoughts as to what you're going to do how you want to participate in the recertification process. And that I'm not sure it's something that we need to do individually or as an entire committee. As for Matt's support of and Ginny's of the canopy stuff, I'm all for that. I'm not sure that we've, just as a separate subject, I'm not sure we've let enough time go by to let that rumble around within town government and within E.O. Smith's administration. But I would say that the first step would be to say to each administration, so what do you think? What do you think about this? And what comes back will tell us a lot about what the next step is.
Peter, I hear what you're saying. I think if we want something like this to move forward, we're gonna have to rattle some cages and get people's attention. A casual email to people. I mean, everybody in our society is just so busy and there's so many things going on. I think a lot of this stuff, even if they read it and say that they like it, they might put it down. I think if solar canopies is something this committee feels is important and we think it would help our sustainable CT status and all that other thing, it might be something where we as a group can say, oh, okay, this is the way we're going to make a difference. And
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, I was just going to say it. I mean, I think the work that we've done is important, but having something like that we could point to and see and say, and there's clean energy being generated off of them, and I
Right.
don't know, it could be interesting. And what I'm hearing about and what I'm reading about with electric cars and what's going to happen with that supposedly in the next 10, 20, 30 years. I mean, it's absolutely incredible. And I don't know, I think it's something that to think about. I mean, I have no problem going into my superintendent's office and knocking on her door and having a talk with her about this and see. I mean, I could help on that, and I know that's only one of the places, but Ginny also is in town hall, so that was a second place. And then do we want to talk to the elementary school? I mean, I wouldn't mind going and talking there to the principal. And then that leaves the middle school. That's not a hard thing either to pop into. So I think we would have to decide this is something we want to do. And I'm not saying we have to decide that right now. We could think about it, chew on it, and come up with all these things or problems or hurdles we'd have to clear or whatever. But if we decide that this is something we would want to do, and then come up with a list, okay, what do we need to do and how do we need to do it and where do we need to go? And if not, if this is something where the committee's kind of like, yeah, this is a big deal, and Peter, I get what you're saying, maybe it's just too new, it's too out there yet. And
Wait a second, Matt. Wait a second,
let
Matt.
it marinate.
Having instigated the solar canopy proposal,
Yes, I know you did.
I'm all for it. So what I was saying was that what we've been discussing tonight is two things to me. One is, are we going to play a coordinating function with other committees to earn recertification for the next round of sustainable CT? And I'm saying that's not, in essence, I'm saying that's not something that I'm interested in doing too much of. And I don't think that the committee necessarily has to spend very much time on it, that Lynn and Ginny can alert the committees and see what they want to do. As far as the solar canopy proposal, I'm completely for it. And that was when I said the first step is to say, what is their reaction? That's the first thing to do. It's not the last thing to do. And it's not, and it probably whether it's Ginny knocking on the door or at, in the town hall, or you knocking on a door at EO Smith, that's fine too. But the first thing is to know what they have to do, because this is not, it's a process of getting them interested. Since in some cases, it will make sense to do solar canopies, and in other cases it won't, because it is just way more expensive to do that than rooftop solar. And essentially what we want to do is to get the two different administrations interested enough to do their own research, their own honest research into whether this makes sense for Mansfield. And yeah, it's definitely a project that I'm interested in pushing forward on. I don't, just by the way, I'd be a little surprised whether crowdfunding can play a role. I think that the expenses are too much. It's possible that a feasibility study might be crowdfunded, but I think that a lot of this will be the various administrations talking to solar developers. I think that they'll be willing to do the work up to a point.
Katie,
I think we're putting the cart before the horse. I think we first need to decide as a committee if we're going to be in back of the sustainable CT and go for it again, be the group that organizes it and goes from there. And the other thing is, I would volunteer to write a letter if I'm given all the addresses of heads of committees and heads of departments and stuff like that. I would be willing to do a letter campaign to put a copy of what we have done in the past for Sustainable CT, but also send it out there as sort of a rah-rah letter to get them thinking about it and what they could do. But we first have to decide, are we going to be the organization to organize this? I think it needs to be an organizational thing. It can't be just dumped on Ginny or Lynn, okay? I think we can do it as a committee, and I'll even make a motion that our committee be the organizing group of it. And like I said, we can talk about the letter afterwards. But I'll make a motion that we be the organizing committee.
awesome. Thanks, Katie. Do we have a second?
Yes.
Got a second from Bill. All right, any further discussion? We're not talking about the tactics and how we're going to do it, but it's a simple motion that we step up as an organizing entity around sustainable CT recertification. Any further discussion or comments? Okay, all in favor, please say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? And abstentions? Okay, so I saw hands and yeses from everyone. I'm not sure you heard your vote, Peter. Did you weigh in?
Oh, yeah, no, I agree.
Okay,
I'm tempted to make a motion that Katie be in charge of that function of the committee.
well,
Okay, yes, I'll do it.
maybe we don't need a motion.
You might be
Um,
sorry.
Yeah, what's that?
I'm not a politically correct person.
No, I think this is great, and I love the idea of a letter. I think the idea of an in-person, people aren't, as Matt was saying, emails, there are a lot of emails, and people aren't going to feel any level of excitement or connection through an email. I think it's worth one event where we invite all the committee chairs and the committees themselves and do a quick presentation like was done a few years ago, and get people to be engaged. What are they excited about? What do they feel they need support with? And maybe Ryan would even be interested in supporting that, or we could just do it on our own.
But it's getting the word out there,
Yeah,
letting them know we're going for it again. And that all these committees and departments and that can contribute to it. And, you know, Ryan has a very good newsletter that he sends out.
yes.
We get something in there.
That's a great idea.
It just, you know, it would get individuals also thinking about how they might be able to help. We can't focus on just one idea yet.
Right,
We got to focus on the overall picture and then narrow down the ones that we want to shoot for, because there's no way we can do it all.
right.
But then we can narrow it down to maybe the solar panels, maybe other stuff. We've come a long way. Look at the plastic bag thing. It
Right.
worked, and
Right,
it's still working.
yeah.
Right.
Go,
So-
Katie. Thanks for all the energy and passion around this. Some great ideas.
Yes.
I'm reading sustainable books, if it helps.
Yay.
And there's no way I can live a sustainable life these days because I have too much plastic in my life. And that's what these books are telling us, is that we have too much plastic in our life. And just try to go one day and not touch any plastic. It's
Yeah,
impossible.
it is
Right.
impossible.
It is absolutely impossible,
Yeah,
but I'm trying.
yeah. That's
I think-
amazing.
I think, Bill, were you wanting to say something?
No.
Okay. All right, yeah.
Okay, so we're rounding the top of the hour,
I just-
6:59.
I do want to add one thing about sustainable CT, and that is that we are, a job description has been created for an intern to help January through, well, when the term starts again in January through to the end of May, for like up to 200 hours to help with the application, like Lucas Cummings did in 2019. So that probably will, that most likely will be happening. And I sent a heads up to the former Sustainable CT Fellows,
Great.
this week to say, hey,
So in addition, if you want it posted on our Basecamp platform for all former fellows, because now it's pretty much remote anyway, we could draw from any school in the state. So if you
Okay.
could send the job description to Jess LeClaire, she can post it out there and we might have a broader reach.
Okay.
Because those guys are all fully trained and know this stuff.
Yeah, right. I know.
Yeah. So it's a great advantage. All right,
Pete,
good. Well, I
before
think
we
we're off
adjourn-
to a good start. I'm excited about this approach, and I'm also excited that people want to jump into some of the nitty gritty on the projects that they're really passionate about. So we'll be able to do both and just get a lot of other people engaged in the nitty gritty projects that they're passionate about. Peter, yes.
If there was more time, and I know that there isn't, but I would be proposing a motion to support Matt's view and my view that the solar canopies should be one of the focuses of our 2022 work. But that can be put off until the next meeting. But I do appreciate Matt's support and interest in that project.
Okay, well, we can either entertain a motion now. I think the next meeting, we'll talk about a little more about how we do the outreach to the committees and what some of the main committees would be. Jenny and I will kind of walk through the action list and identify relevant committees so we can just talk about it and the approach. And then we could also talk about what this committee wants to focus on. So we could, again, look at some of the things that have been on the table already, including the solar canopies. So if you'd like, we can certainly have a motion on it now, Peter, or include it next time. If you
Well-
feel moved, then move.
I feel moved. I would move that support or advocating for both E.O. Smith and the town of Mansfield to explore the use of solar canopies to help the town become a more sustainable community. Should be one of our focuses in 2022.
Great. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thanks, Matt. All, any discussion? All in favor? Say aye. Raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, I think I heard everyone that time. Opposed? Any nays? Abstentions? So moved. All right, this is great. Any last comments before we adjourn?
A question about the motion. So the motion is advocating that E.O. Smith and the town
Explore the
Consider
use of,
okay, of solar canopies, okay.
yeah, and if you or Lynn have better wording, which you very likely do, then you can change it.
Do we want to limit it to just the town or, and E.O. Smith, or do we also want to look at possibly including Southeast and the middle school? I don't know if the middle school will work. There's a lot of trees around their parking lots, but I think the new elementary school is going to have a lot of open space to over their parking lots.
I
Do we
think-
want
I
to
think-
include?
I think
Well,
there's a problem.
they do have solar, the,
They're net
yeah.
zero. So maybe we hold off on the broadening and can take that up as we dig in on this another time.
Well,
makes
sense.
well, I think you could add the school board, the Mansfield School Board,
Yeah.
Board of Education, because that is a separate entity, and thank you for bringing that up.
okay.
All right.
Middle school.
So as amended, I guess we're cool with that. All right, everyone. Enjoy the holidays. Thank you for a
Thank you.
good meeting. I'm excited about working on this stuff with you all and getting other people engaged. And I'm glad we kind of we'll have a focus of what we want to do together in 2022. So enjoy the holidays and we'll see you in January.
Yeah,
Thanks,
take
Lynn and
care.
all.
Thank
Have a good
you.
holiday.
Happy
All right,
holidays,
thanks.
everybody.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
to you.
Happy holidays.
Bye.